Hey everybody, what's going on? So I have kind of a special little video for you today. I got a special question asked to me today by Jason Icom. He wanted some help with the Crystal Beast deck. He recently acquired a Black Luster Soldier Envoy at the beginning and wanted to know how to tech it into his Crystal Beast build. So, when you're looking at a Crystal Beast build, you really have to kind of stick to the core of the Crystal Beast build. You know, you still need to have your 3 Sapphire Pegasus, and depending on whether or not you want to run the Rainbow Dragon, you're actually going to need all 7 Crystal Beasts. If you're not going to run the Rainbow Dragon, you're still going to want your Sapphires, your Rubies, your Amethyst, Topaz Tigers, and Amaranths, and possibly even one Emerald Tortoise. So, when you're trying to build your Crystal Beast deck, you're automatically going to need to look at your Crystal Beast deck and say, okay, well, what light and dark monsters are already in here that, or should I be running in here that I can, build advantages off of. Number one, we have a light in Ruby Carbuncle. If you are going to run the Black Luster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, well, you should already be running the Ruby at 2 at least. It's possible with the Luster Envoy to run 3. You gotta tech that a little bit and play test it to see if it'll work for you. Also, on the light side, if you're going to run the Rainbow Dragon, don't forget that the Rainbow Dragon itself is a light monster, and if you have the opportunity, don't be afraid to remove the Rainbow Dragon or to drop the Envoy. It's a really easy way to get to either of them with the Bionic Loop. If you have 4 Crystal Beasts in the back row and you have Rainbow Ruins on the field, you summon Bionic, you pitch one from your hand in order to bounce the Rainbow Ruins back to your hand, and when you replay it, you can activate the 4th effect again to draw a card. That's not the card you want. You activate Bionic's effect again and continue the cycle until hopefully you have both the Envoy, the Rainbow Dragon, and maybe an abundance in hand. You can really, level people. Also, most people are running in the Crystal Beast decks already. Summoner Monk at least at 1, if not 2. I really recommend you run 2 in a Crystal Beast build just because there's so many level 4s, and to feed into the Pegasus so easily is a really good thing. And then you can even overlay, and we'll get into the Xyz here in a second. Another one that I really like in Crystal Beast decks is Dragon Queen of Tragic Endings. She is a dark monster, and I kind of use her as my own personal Malicious. That's even better than Malicious because I can just keep bringing her back. She also has a nice draw effect. She's dark, so she could be very well utilized. If you're going to run her, I really do recommend that you run a Plague Spreader. That is another dark monster, and will give you more opportunities to synchro summon. That's just one of the best tuners in the game, And it's actually not that expensive anymore. You can probably get a Plague Spreader for around $8 to $10. As far as we're on the tuner kick, I also really like Genex Ally Birdman. He combos really well with Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. If you can special summon the Pegasus, a little bit like a Crystal Beacon or a Monster Reborn, you can bounce it back to your hand, special summon the Genex Ally Birdman, which then gives you the opportunity to normal summon that Pegasus again, and add another Crystal Beast to your back row. So he's pretty good in Crystal Beast decks. Another one to always kind of consider would be Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. Kaiku just has a couple of really nice effects. He'll protect your graveyard, so if you're playing the Rainbow Dragon build and you want to protect the Crystal Beasts that are in your graveyard from getting removed before you can summon the dragon, Kaiku can do that. Also, Kaiku may be one of the best choices just because Inzectors are so dangerous against Crystal Beasts, and Kaiku, if you're lucky, can get to the Hornets, and if you can stop the Hornets in the Inzectors, you might have a chance. So Kaiku is a good one to consider there. Last, because we were, if you're running Crystal Beast deck, you're probably always going to have cards on the field. That's just kind of the way that it goes. So Gores isn't really an option, but Tragosia always is. So you should, if you're playing the Crystal Beast deck right, you should be running multiple copies of Rainbow Ruins. You should be drawing off with the 4th effect. I really don't recommend running Rare Value, really, because Rare Value can deplete your back row, which will just draw away from your overall concept. But if you're running cards like Rainbow Ruins and the Dragon Queen Tragic Endings, you can get a lot of additional hand advantage that way. Another little one that I like to tech in, and this is more one that I like to use in my side deck with Crystal Beasts, is Pitch Black Werewolf. He's a dark level 4, and one of the reasons I like to use him is because in my Crystal Beast deck, I'm currently running 2 copies of Horn of the Phantom Beast, and he is just another monster that can be equipped with Horn of the Phantom Beast. Horn of the Phantom Beast is just nice in Crystal Beast decks because it gets off the field right away when the monster is destroyed, which means I have room for my crystals when they get destroyed, and it gives me additional attack points and a little extra draw power. And it's always fun to activate during the damage time. On the extra deck side of things, on darks, I want to recommend, of course, if you have one or if you can afford it, Steel Swarm Roach is a wonderful choice because it's a rank 4 dark. But that's a little bit more on the pricey side, and I know Jason is trying to play more of a budget. So Terabyte is actually a really wonderful choice for you because you can actually summon it, because you can bring out multiple level 3s to overlaying 3 for rank 3. Not necessarily a bad option. If you were to do something like a ruby, a amethyst, and a emerald tortoise, all 3, that actually protects all 3 from getting removed from play while you're trying to bring out your rainbow dragon. Once again, if you're running the rainbow dragon. Also, it has just a nice defense. It's dark, and it has a really cool effect that allows you to take control of your opponent's monsters. Oop. It was also just reprinted with alternate art that I personally think is cooler, and I'm actually waiting on getting that here in the mail. So, yay. On the light side of things, Utopia, of course, is pretty much a staple of all of our extra decks at this point. We're all running 1 or 2 of these guys, and he's just wonderful because he negates attacks, and he's also a light, and he's really easy to bring out, especially with the 2 Summoner Monks and the multiple copies of Crystal Beacon. Once again, in any Crystal Beast deck, I recommend 3 Crystal Beacons. It's just too easy to special summon out cards, and also with the Plague Spreader, it combos really well. You can set your Ruby back on top to know that you still have a Ruby in your deck that you can special summon. Illuminate is actually possible in Crystal Beast decks. Rank 4, you need 3 level 3s, 3 level 4s in order to special summon this guy. And that's actually not impossible to do, once again, with the Crystal Beacon, the Crystal Beacon and Ruby, or a Rainbow Ruins and Ruby, literally any way you special summon a Ruby, because Ruby will flood up everything. Or if you were to Abundance and hit, maybe you want to go into this afterwards. This is a nice little way to get a little extra draw power. Once again, this also feeds into the Rainbow Dragon concept. I'm not trying to push the Rainbow Dragon, I'm just trying to say it's a viable choice. And lastly, GigaBrilliant is wonderful in Crystal Beast decks because it's really easy rank 3 to special summon, and has a cool effect that pumps up everybody's attack, which Crystal Beasts don't necessarily have the most attack points, but if you can rush out with Ruby and overlay quickly for him and pump up perhaps 3 Pegasus, that'll bump up each of your Pegasus to 2,100 attack points, and that's pretty devastating. So that's one to consider as well. Also, in every extra deck at this point, I still recommend, well, any Crystal Beast extra deck I recommend running Ally of Justice Cataster. He's just a really good way of dealing with multiple cards, and it's really easy to special summon him if you're running any level 2 tuner. But once again, the Plague Spreader is really the best tuner that I've found as far as level 2s to run outside of the Scrap lineup. I still personally really like the Scrap lineup. So that's what I got for you. Also, I just want to recommend, as far as spells and traps to consider using, or I have one Exceed to recommend using. These are just to kind of support the monster lineup. I saw that Jason was running a Starlight Road in his Crystal Beast deck. I understand the temptation of wanting to run Starlight Road with as much massive destruction as there is available, but the fact is Starlight Road is one of those cards that will burn Crystal Beast deck players more than it will help Crystal Beast deck players, just because it's going to sit in your back row, and they will let it sit in your back row while they one-off your cards and stop you from getting your overall advantage by playing a Crystal Abundance or getting a 5th effect off of Rainbow Ruins, and you're just going to end up clogging up your back row. So I don't recommend Starlight Road. I do recommend Burial from a Different Dimension if you're going to be playing a Chaos build, just because you're going to end up at some point removing a Ruby Carbuncle, and you're probably going to want it back. Also, once again, if you're running the Rainbow Dragon, this is a good just support card for that, because you can activate the secondary effect. Pot of Duality is nice because even though in Crystal Beast decks you're going to be special summoning a lot, or at least you should be, in order to activate some of the cycles and loops, Pot of Duality is a really good way to start getting to those loops, getting Crystal Beacons, getting your tree early, whatever it is. So I do recommend running Duality at probably 2 in Crystal Beast deck, and that's what I would actually replace Revalue with, because once again defeats the overall purpose. Solemn Warning is a wonderful card in Crystal Beast decks when you're comboing it with Rainbow Ruins. Rainbow Ruins is going to buffer the life point damage you're going to take, as long as you have 2 Crystal Beasts in the back row, which is pretty easy with Pegasus to do. But it's also going to stop a lot of those boss monsters or really annoying combo start monsters, like maybe the Wind-Up Shark, the Wind-Up Rat, or the Insector Dragonfly, what have you. This is going to help you stop a lot of that. So I do recommend that you get your hands on 2 of these, put those in. I also recommend 2 Torrential Tributes in Crystal Beast decks, because you want to destroy your own monsters. I don't think enough players realize that if you're playing Crystal Beasts, you want to be destroying your own monsters to put them in the back row so that you can rush them out again. And if you're doing it right, you're blowing up the entire monster field so that your opponent loses everything, and you're just waiting to respawn yours. Last one, I do recommend running Levy of the Sea Dragon in Crystal Beast extra decks. This is wonderful if you end up removing a Ruby Carbuncle, because you can activate Levier's effect to special summon Ruby and rush out again if you haven't already won the game. Levier is also wonderful if they decide to DD Crow something like your Sapphire Pegasus. Alright, so I hope this helped. This has been the Crystal Beast Master. Peace out.